A courtroom in flames. Not literal, but emotional, volatile. Chairs overturned, paper fluttering through the air like desperate birds. A woman shrieks, her voice piercing the stunned silence. Blood soaks her blouse. She was never supposed to know. She screams, her eyes wild, scanning the room like prey trapped in a cage. Sirens wail in the distance, their rhythm syncing with the thudding panic in the air. A child clutches a stuffed bear, his hand trembling. A judge slams his gavel, but no one listens. A man stares at a burned photograph on the floor, lips trembling, eyes watering. In the corner, an elderly woman gasps, then collapses. Through it all, a young woman, early 20s, South Asian, dark hair matted to her temple, whispers into a camera phone. He watched her die. A low heartbeat rises in sound design. Glass crunches beneath polished shoes. A half-burned letter floats into a pool of spilt coffee. And then silence, dead and heavy, before a single breath escapes. Run. She didn't run. Not that night. The chaos burned around her, but Maya stood still. Early 20s, sharp-willed, unflinching even with the taste of blood in the air. Her lips parted, dry, whispering his name. Hell. The name dropped like glass onto tile. People rushed past her, lawyers, guards, family, strangers. But she didn't move. The camera in her hand, still recording, caught every second. Al had been there. She'd seen him. Not dead. Not innocent. Watching. Her breath clouded in the cold courtroom air. She turned her head slowly and locked eyes with the lens of the camera, as if staring at someone far beyond the scene. He watched her die, she said again, quieter this time, not for the room, but for whoever would listen. And that moment, her eyes hollow yet blazing, became the moment the truth took its first breath. And the lies, finally, began to rot. Outside, rain hammered the streets like a warning. Maya stood under a broken courthouse awning, the phone still in her hand. She replayed the clip. There, frame 143. A face. His face. A heel. Alive. Detwan. He'd watched from the second row, hidden in the smoke and confusion. The security footage would never show it. But her camera had. She looked up. Across the street, a black car sat idling, too still. Its headlights off, its engine too quiet. Someone was watching her. Her fingers curled tighter around the phone. You tried to win, she whispered, eyes narrowing. You think this ends with her gone? Behind her, the gavel had silenced. But here, in the street, the real judgment began. She stepped forward, into the rain, toward the car. If he thought silence was his weapon, then Maya was about to speak loud enough to shatter it. A voice message played from the phone speaker, distorted, scrambled. But one line sliced through the static. She knew. She always knew. Maya's thumb hovered above the pause button. The voice was his. Heels. A chill spread across her skin, colder than the storm. She stepped back from the curb. The car's brake lights flicked on. Too late. A man stepped out, umbrella in one hand, a phone in the other, and a gun just visible beneath his coat. He didn't speak, just stared. Maya's heart pounded like a war drum. She didn't run. She stared right back. The gun didn't scare her. Not compared to the truth. What now? She muttered. The man raised his phone and took a picture. Flash. And then he walked away, disappearing into the alley. The world hadn't ended in court. It had just started unraveling. The flash still burned in her eyes. Maya blinked, chasing after shadows. The alley he vanished into? Empty. A trail of footprints dissolved in rain. She followed them anyway. Her shoes splashed through puddles that smelled like smoke and rust. Brick walls loomed close. The streetlights didn't reach here. Each step echoed like a countdown. Her phone buzzed. A new voice note. From an unknown number. Her breath caught. Maya, If you hear this, I'm already gone." It was her sister's voice. The sister they buried. The sister who never left a note. The message went on. "Don't trust anyone, not even the lawyer, not even static." Silence. Then a whisper. "They're watching you." Maya clutched the phone to her chest. The alley darkened around her. Not fear, resolve. This wasn't just justice anymore. This was war. Before the blood, before the whisper, there was only silence. Maya sat on the edge of her sister Zara's bed, fingers tracing the threads of a torn blanket. The room hadn't changed in months. Books stacked like barricades, perfume bottles half used, a dusty photograph of the two of them, laughing. Maya whispered, "Why didn't you tell me?" No answer. Just the creak of old wood and the hum of a dying bulb. The truth was Zara had cried. She had begged. But the world had silenced her cries. And Maya, lost in her own battles, hadn't heard. That guilt now nested deep inside her ribs. Every breath carried its weight. She opened Zara's journal. The ink was shaky, but the words were there. He said if I talked, no one would believe me. Maya's jaw tightened. She was late, but she would speak louder than anyone ever had for Zara. Her voice would break the walls that had caged her sister's screams. The funeral had been too clean, too rehearsed. People cried for show, not grief. The lawyer gave a speech that sounded printed. Maya had stood in the back, hands clenched, watching them. No one mentioned how Zara died. No one asked, because they all knew, or feared knowing. But Maya remembered the last day clearly. Zara had hugged her a little too long, laughed a little too hard, like she was trying to record joy for later. Maya hadn't seen it then. She did now. After the service, she wandered the cemetery alone. Her heels sank into wet soil. She stood over Zara's grave, eyes burning. "They buried you fast," Maya said. Like silence would protect them. A breeze tugged her scarf. She knelt down, brushing dust from the nameplate. "I won't let it protect them. Not anymore." And in that stillness, something shifted. Not the wind. Not the birds. Something deeper. Like Zara heard her. They told Maya it was suicide. That Zara had struggled. That grief makes people see signs where there are none. But Maya wasn't grieving, she was remembering. Zara had been scared. Not broken. Afraid, yes. But never hopeless. One night, weeks before her death, Zara had called her crying. She'd said, "He comes to my window." Maya thought she meant nightmares. Now she knew better. Maya returned to their childhood home, where Zara had stayed. The window still creaked when open. Outside it, a cigarette butt. Fresh. Ning. Maya stared down at the alley, narrow and hidden. "He watched her," Maya whispered. "He came here." She climbed out onto the fire escape, heart pounding. The rusted bars groaned under her weight. And then she saw it, scratched into the wall beneath the window. "Don't trust the lawyer." Her breath caught. Not grief. A message. Left behind like a spark waiting for flame. Maya remembered the first time Zara showed her the bruises. She'd covered them in glitter. Said it was from falling at dance rehearsal. But Maya knew the truth even then. Still, she let it go. Because admitting it meant tearing their world open. Now, standing in Zara's room again, Maya opened the closet. A hidden compartment in the floor. Inside, photos, old voice notes, and a letter with one line underlined in red. "He'll made them all lie." Her hands shook. She played a recording. Zara's voice, soft and scared. "He said if I told, he'd make me disappear like the others." The closet doors slammed shut behind Maya. "Atunedi came were. I wadi part two." She spun, heart racing. No one was there. But the weight of that warning pressed down like gravity. Maya wasn't just up against grief. She was up against a system built to bury girls like Zara. But she had her voice now, and it was sharpening. The bruises, the whispers, the silences during dinner. They were all there, woven into years of ignored signs. Maya sat in the family's old dining room, the long table now a graveyard of memories. Her parents had refused to talk. They said digging would only make things worse. Worse than dead, she thought. Her fingers ran across the grooves on the table where Zara had carved little hearts. Maya smiled bitterly. You were always trying to leave a mark. She took out the red-marked letter again. Ahil's name. The school. The lawyer. Death. All connected. All complicit. She laid out the photos and notes across the table like puzzle pieces. The faces stared back. Some she loved. Some she once trusted. The realization hit like ice water. This wasn't just about Zara. This was bigger. She whispered. They tried to win, but I haven't even started. Then she stood, gathered the files, and walked into the night. Maya stormed into the school office, her heart beating like a warning bell. The secretary smiled, too tightly, and said the principal was busy. Maya dropped the letter on the desk. You knew about this, she said coldly. The smile faltered. In the hallway, students whispered, phones recording. Maya didn't care. The office door opened. Principal Rafiq stood in the frame, gray-suited, glasses fogged from sweat. Zara was unstable, he said. Maya's fist curled around the edge of the letter. She was silenced. That's different. He stepped back. You need to leave, Maya. Her voice rose, cutting the air. You covered for Ahil. You erased her bruises from school records. And I have proof. Gasps from the hallway followed. Rafiq's hand trembled. She stepped closer, nose to nose. You think this ends with a cover-up? She whispered. This is just where it starts. The cameras kept rolling. Truth had arrived. Loud. Uninvited. That night, Maya uploaded the recording to social media. The clip hit hard. Rafiq's denial, her confrontation, the truth unfiltered. Within hours, it spread. Comments exploded. Some called her a liar. Others, a hero. But one reply froze her blood. You're next. No name. No profile photo. Just that line. What? Maya stared at the screen. She knew it wasn't random. Fear crept up her spine, but she didn't look away. Instead, she turned her webcam on and spoke. My name is Maya. And if anything happens to me, this story is already out. Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. You tried to bury my sister. You tried to bury me. But the ground's too shallow for your secrets. She clicked e-post. The red light on her webcam lingered as her breath slowed. Across the city, someone watched her face, their finger hovering over a trigger neither digital nor metaphorical. The next morning, her car was slashed. Tires gutted. Window shattered. A single word scratched into the hood. Liar. Maya stood frozen, phone in one hand, disbelief in the other. Neighbors peeked through curtains but said nothing. She documented everything. Every shot, every smear of paint. At the police station, the officer looked bored. No cameras, no witnesses, could have been anyone. Maya slammed her palm on the desk. It wasn't anyone. It was someone afraid of the truth. He raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. We'll file a report. She left the station burning inside. Outside, her phone buzzed, an unknown number again. A photo, her standing at the grave yesterday. Taken from behind. Maya dropped the phone. This wasn't a warning. It was a declaration. Whoever they weren't just hiding anymore. They were watching her, daring her. And she would not blink first. Maya met with Zara's best friend Asma in the corner of an empty cafe. Asma hadn't spoken at the funeral, hadn't responded to texts. But now she looked pale, trembling. They came to my house, Asma whispered. Told me to keep quiet, said Zara was sick. Maya reached across the table, gently gripping her hand. You knew she wasn't. Asma nodded slowly. She told me everything. About the teacher, about the threats, about the lawyer covering it all. Maya leaned in. I need your help. I can't do this alone. Asma hesitated, then pulled a flash drive from her coat. She gave me this, told me to only use it if she. Her voice cracked. Didn't make it. Maya took it. The drive was small, but it felt like a bomb. Everything was changing. The cracks weren't just showing. They were splitting the ground wide open. The contents of the drive shattered everything. Videos, audio clips, photos. One showed Zara bruised and shaking, whispering to the camera, "They won't stop unless someone makes them." Another was a voice note from Ahil himself, laughing, bragging, naming names. Maya sat motionless, her laptop glowing in the dark. Each file felt like a scream finally unleashed. But there was one last folder. Locked, encrypted, labeled, for Maya only. She clicked it. Password required. Her fingers trembled. She typed Z-A-R-A. It opened. A video. Zara, on her bed, looking straight into the lens. I knew you'd find this, she said. I'm sorry I didn't tell you everything. I was scared. But you're brave enough for both of us. Maya watched, tears flooding, breath silent. Her sister wasn't just a victim. She was the spark. Maya was the flame. And now, the fire had started. Maya sat across from her Aunt Farah, a retired court stenographer, hoping for quiet answers. But Farah's eyes were tired, lips tight. There's something you don't know, she said. Maya leaned in. Farah placed a folder on the table. Inside, a birth certificate. Not Zara's. Maya's. It listed a different mother. A different surname. You were adopted, Farah whispered. We never meant to lie, but it was the only way to protect you. Maya's breath stopped. Her hands trembled. Protect me from what? Farah's voice cracked. From Ahil. From your real father. Silence stretched like a scream. He wanted you, she said. But your mother knew what he was. She ran. We took you in, Zara. She was your cousin, but she loved you like a sister. Maya blinked, stunned. Her past wasn't hers. Her name wasn't hers. And suddenly she realized she was connected to everything. Not just as witness, as legacy. The revelation unraveled Maya's world. She walked aimlessly through the city, the noise now a distant roar inside her head. Her mother wasn't her mother. Zara wasn't her sister. And Ahil, not just a monster. Her biological father. Her blood. The pieces fit now. Why he had always been near, watching. Why the lawyer had protected him. Why Zara had begged Maya to stop asking questions. Not because she couldn't handle the truth, but because the truth would burn everything. Maya stopped at a bridge, eyes staring into the rushing water below. Her reflection trembled. Was she still herself? Or a shadow of someone else's war? A text came through. From an anonymous number. Patty Reich. Meet me tonight. I'll give you what Zara died for. Attached was a location. Maya looked out into the dark, the wind pressing against her coat like a warning. She whispered, "Let it burn." The location led Maya to an abandoned courthouse annex, long condemned, its walls scarred with graffiti and neglect. She stepped inside with only a flashlight. Dust swirled in the air. A single desk remained in the center, a small recorder on top. Beside it, a file folder marked Confession. She pressed play. Ahil's voice emerged, low and steady. "If you're hearing this, it means I lost. But I always knew Maya would come for me. She was born with fire." His voice cracked. "Yes, I killed Zara. She knew too much. And yes, I paid the lawyer, the school, all of them, because power protects itself. Maya's knuckles turned white as she gripped the recorder. But Maya, the voice continued, softer now, you're mine, and you'll never escape what you are. She slammed the recorder down. Her voice was a hiss in the dark. I am nothing like you. Maya didn't leave immediately. She stood in the courtroom's remnants, letting the echoes of Ahil's voice die in the dust. Then she opened the folder. Inside, photos, checks, and one shocking document, a falsified autopsy report. Zara's death had been staged as overdose. But toxicology was blank. Cause of death, undetermined. Maya whispered, they faked everything. Suddenly a noise. She turned, flashlight flickering. A shadow moved at the far end of the hole. Who's there? She shouted. Silence. Then, a man stepped forward. The lawyer. Imran. You shouldn't have come here, he said. His voice was calm, too calm. It's not safe. Maya held up the folder. You wrote her silence in ink. I'm writing her story in fire. Imran smiled, almost sadly. This isn't justice. It's war. Maya didn't flinch. Then you should have picked the right side. They didn't speak after that. Maya walked past him, out of the courthouse, into the cold night. The sky churned with storm clouds. Her breath fogged the air. The folder clutched in her hand felt heavier than before, as if her whole past was bound in its pages. She reached her car, slid inside, and locked the doors. Then she opened her laptop and uploaded the entire folder to the cloud. Public.q. Unfiltered. Irreversible. Files, videos, the confession. All of it. She titled it, Zara's Truth. A message popped up from an unknown sender. Just 3 words, you did it. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Did what? Expose the rot? Or inherited it? The truth was out now. But so was she. No more shadows. No more protection. Maya looked into the mirror. Her face was wet with rain, or maybe tears. This isn't over, she said. This is the beginning. The gala was opulence wrapped in guilt. Crystal chandeliers, polished speeches, and smiling liars. Maya walked through the front door in Zara's red dress, one the girl had never gotten to wear. Whispers rippled as she entered. Her phone streamed live in her pocket. Imran saw her first, froze mid-toast. What are you doing here? He hissed as she approached. Telling the truth, Maya said. She turned to the crowd, raised her voice. You all protected a murderer. Silence. Then gasps. My name is Maya, and the man you celebrate tonight helped cover up the abuse and murder of my sister Zara. She reached into her clutch and played the recording, Ahil's voice spilling into the room. Shocked faces. Some stood. Some fled. Imran shouted, She's lying! Maya stared him down. Then sue me, but first watch the news. Behind her, phones buzzed. Zara's truth was everywhere now, and no one could stop it. The crowd turned fast. Security moved in, but someone in the audience yelled, Let her speak. Maya's voice cut through. Zara was 14 when the abuse began. The school covered it. The lawyer buried it. And you. She pointed at Ahil's business partner in the crowd, funded the silence. Panic surged. The lawyer pushed forward, furious. You're ruining reputations with gossip. Maya didn't blink. I'm not. No, you ruined your own. I'm just turning the lights on. Her hands shook, but her voice stayed sharp. This isn't revenge, it's exposure. Police entered the hall. A journalist live-streamed the entire confrontation. Imran tried to walk out, but was stopped. One officer read him his rights. Another whispered, "We have the files, the confession, everything." Maya stepped back, breath uneven. The system she'd screamed at for so long was finally listening. She wasn't done. But this was justice ripping through the surface. Maya sat in a small conference room later that night, hands shaking from adrenaline. A detective slid a document across the table. An arrest warrant for A.A. "We'll need your statement," he said gently. Maya nodded, eyes raw but burning. "I want every word on record," she began. From the first bruise to the final lie. From the night Zara cried at the window to the day the letter burned. Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. For every sentence, Zara's ghost stood beside her. When she finished, the room fell silent. "Thank you," the detective said. "You've just helped bring down a network that stayed hidden for years." Maya looked at her reflection in the table's surface. "They tried to win," she whispered. "By silencing us, by erasing us, but we're still here." For the first time, her voice didn't tremble. It rang. Clear. Again. Final. One. A war cry in quiet skin. Ahil was arrested at dawn. Cameras swarmed as he was led from his estate in handcuffs, robe flapping like disgrace unraveling. Maya watched it unfold on the news, her hands folded tightly in her lap. The anchor said, "Prominent businessman arrested in connection with a decades-long cover-up." But Maya only heard Zara's name whispered between the lines. She walked into her parents' house, her adoptive parents. Her mother looked up, eyes red-rimmed. "We didn't know it would go this far." Maya nodded. "But it did." Her father said nothing, just handed her a box. Inside, Zara's belongings. A photo of the two of them, arms wrapped around each other, laughing into the sun. "We should have protected her," her mother whispered. Maya clutched the photo. "We can't change what we didn't do, but we can honor what she left behind." Her voice was soft. But in that softness, truth thundered. Later that day, Maya returned to the school. It was quiet. Students gone. Hallways hollow. She walked past Zara's locker, untouched, still adorned with stickers and faded notes. She placed a single rose inside. Then, she marched into the assembly hall and stood on stage. Alone. She faced empty seats. "This is where they silenced her," she said. "But I want her voice to echo here forever." She pulled out a flash drive and plugged it into the projector. Zara's video began to play. Her voice, soft and scared, filled the auditorium. "If you're watching this, it means I'm gone, but I wasn't weak. I was silenced. There's a difference." Maya sat in the front row, hands clenched. "You were never weak," she whispered. The screen flickered. The final frame froze on Zara's smile. And for a moment, the silence wasn't heavy, it was full. Of grief. Of memory. Dull. Of victory. Weeks passed. The headlines changed. The noise quieted. But Maya still carried the weight. She walked through Zara's favorite park, headphones in, voice notes playing softly. "Remember when we got soaked in that fountain?" Zara's laugh rang out, crisp and young. Maya smiled, bittersweet. The world kept spinning, but some wounds didn't close, only scabbed over. Kids laughed nearby. Parents watched from benches. Maya sat beneath a jacaranda tree, her fingers brushing the edge of a worn photo from her wallet. "You should be here," she whispered. "You deserve this air, this light." Her phone buzzed, a message from a journalist. "The tribunal wants you to testify." Maya exhaled. She hadn't asked for this fight, but she'd see it through. For Zara. Mol. For every silenced voice. She looked at the sun through purple blossoms. "Let them call me," she said. "I have more to say." The tribunal hearing was sterile and slow, but Maya's presence wasn't. She stood firm before the panel, eyes direct. "They thought that I'd never be found out because no one believed girls like Zara," she said. But she left enough truth behind to shake mountains. Murmurs filled the room. The lead investigator nodded. Your testimony corroborates evidence submitted anonymously. Thank you for your courage. Maya stepped down, head held high. A woman in the gallery mouthed, "Thank you." Another wept quietly. Outside, press waited. Maya paused. She didn't speak, just raised Zara's photo to the cameras. Sometimes the loudest thing wasn't a shout. It was a name carried forward, again and again. She disappeared into the crowd, not as a victim or a hero, but something stronger. A survivor who chose not just to speak, but to make the world listen. In a quiet room back home, Maya unpacked Zara's final belongings. A sweater. A sketchbook. The scent of her still clung to the fabric. Maya turned the pages. Doodles of stars' eyes and quotes filled the book. One page stopped her. What they do to silence us will echo louder than any scream. Maya traced the words with her fingertip. Her eyes welled, but didn't spill. Zara had left breadcrumbs, truth hidden in ink and tears. Maya pinned that page to the wall above her desk. You didn't just leave, she murmured. You armed me. Outside the window, the wind stirred the trees. Inside, Maya lit a candle, not as ritual, but resistance. Light in defiance of silence. The world hadn't changed. But Maya had. She had taken her grief and turned it into fire. And with it, she planned to burn the rest of the lies. A foundation was born, the Zara Voice Project. Maya launched it with shaking hands but clear eyes. Its mission, to protect, to document, to amplify those who could no longer speak. Emails flooded in. Stories like Zara. Some worse. Maya read every one. She didn't reply to all. Some didn't need replies, just acknowledgement. Just space. At the launch event, she stood behind a simple podium. Zara wasn't a symbol, Maya said. She was a girl, a sister, a soul, and they tried to erase her. But she's louder than ever now. Cameras flashed. Applause followed. But Maya didn't smile. Not in celebration. In memory. Her grief was still present, but it wasn't a prison. It was now her sword. And every story told through the foundation became armor. The world might never be safe, but it would be louder. One last thing remained. The box. Tie. Maya had kept it sealed for months. Inside, Zara's phone retrieved from evidence. She held it like a relic, afraid of the weight in it. She powered it on. A final draft message blinked unsent. If you find this, I'm sorry, but you'll know what to do. I believe in you. No name. No sign-off. But Maya knew it was for her. She stepped outside, moonlight brushing her face. In the garden, she dug a shallow hole beneath their favorite tree. She placed the box inside. Not to forget, but to close. As she buried it, she whispered, "Sleep now, I'll keep speaking." The dirt settled. The wind moved through the leaves. Maya stood in the quiet, wrapped in the night. It wasn't peace, but it was purpose. And in that moment, purpose was enough. The morning after the burial, Maya brewed tea in silence. The house creaked like it exhaled with her. As she set her mug down, her phone buzzed. A notification from a number she didn't recognize. Voicemail received. Playback? She froze. Nay. Her hands hovered. She clicked play. Static at first. Then, a familiar voice. Zara's. Hey, if you're hearing this, I didn't make it. But you did. I love you. I always knew you'd fight for both of us. The voice ended in a whisper. Don't stop. Maya didn't move. Didn't blink. A tear slipped down. The message wasn't haunting. It was permission. A reminder that this story, Zara's story, wasn't over. It had only just found its voice. And Maya wasn't done speaking. Later that day, Maya walked past a mural on a downtown wall. It hadn't been there before. Zara's face, painted large, vibrant. Beneath it, she was never silent. They just stopped listening. Maya stopped. Crowds gathered slowly. Some took photos. Others placed flowers at its base. Maya reached out, touching the edge of Zara's smile, traced in color and courage. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. The mural said everything. A girl once silenced was now immortalized in light and pigment. Maya turned, walking away with her head high. Behind her, the wall breathed with Zara's echo, and the city listened. As dusk settled, Maya stood on her rooftop. Alone. Wind brushed her cheeks. The city below hummed. She held a worn copy of Zara's journal, its corners frayed from use. She read one last quote aloud. "When you've been silenced, every whisper becomes a revolution." Maya smiled. Not sad, but knowing. Zara had been more than what happened to her. She was a voice, a resistance, a fire. Maya lit a paper lantern, scribbled one word on it, louder. She released it into the sky. It rose slowly, caught by the wind, drifting over rooftops and lives. And in that light, Zara wasn't gone. She was airborne. Back inside, Maya turned off the lights. Her home now had a silence she wasn't afraid of. No footsteps. No threats. Just her, the journal, and a single burning candle. The screen of her laptop blinked. A message from a girl in another city. "Your story saved me. I thought I was alone." Another followed. Then dozens. Maya stared at them. Each one proof that pain, when spoken, becomes power. Her fingers hovered, then typed, "You're not alone. Keep going. Tell the truth." She hit send. Then closed the lid. The candle flickered. The world was still broken. But cracks let light through. And tonight, Maya was all flame. Final shot. Kun. A young girl, maybe 12, steps off a school bus. Backpack too heavy. Eyes tired. She sees the mural of Zara on the wall. She stops. Reads the words. Her lips move silently, mouthing them. Then, her expression shifts. Not fear. Recognition. She pulls out a phone. Dials a number. "I want to report something," she says. A pause. "Because someone believed her. And now I believe me." She looks one last time at the mural. Then walks on. Head up. The cycle didn't just break. It echoed forward. And that echo? It had a name. A face. A fire. And it would never be silenced again.